Hi, this is Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Well, today I'm excited to show you a couple items. One, a photo, a Willie Mays photo, and also a very rare Babe Ruth card. But before I do that, I'd like to there was a couple videos I watched this week from a couple guys I definitely respect in the hobby, John Mangini and Dave Blue Jacket 66. John recently did a video regarding restoration, altering cards to get a better grade. And all I have to say with this is don't change the card. Do not alter the card. Leave the card alone. Okay. It's one thing to clean off a finger, a thumbprint, a fingerprint, clean that off. It's a whole nother thing to fix a crease, fix a corner. Just leave the card alone. Now, Dave Blue Jacket 66 did a video regarding mainly Mickey Mantle autographs, cards of his, plain day cards that he signed, and just kind of discussing the amount of these cards actually out there in the last couple of years. And I think the same age as Dave, and I did not see growing up in the 70s, being 10, 12, 14 years old, you just wouldn't deface a card, a baseball card. You would go to a card show, you would take a program, you would have someone sign your hat, heck, an index card, or even just a piece of paper when you were young, but you wouldn't take a baseball card. At least in California, you would not do that. And then, I think that changed, later in the 80s. I talking to a cousin of mine who collected football cards mainly, and he would go to card shows later in the 80s and have a player sign like Jerry Rice or a Raider player, 49er player, because we grew up in the Bay Area. But I don't really myself remember as a young person seeing, autos on cards. So it is kind of interesting to see the amount of Mickey Mantle autos out there, considering too is that he passed away, I believe, in 1995. Okay, so to me, Dave's not saying this. I'm saying it is kind of fishy to see the amount of autos out there. Now let's get back to a couple items I'd like to show you. First one is a photo I recently got in, a Type 1 photo of Willie Mays, obviously. This is a 1964 promotional photo for a program, TV program. It was called The Man Named Mays, and it ran on October 6, 1964 on NBC. This photo was taken in July of 64. In the background here, you're going to see the baseball stands of Forbes Field. The Giants played the Pirates on this particular day, and the Giants ended up losing, unfortunately. But a really cool photo to have to add to my collection. Kind of see the documentation on the back here. A little rant. I mentioned last week, my last video at least, about the labels, the Grady Company labels. And what do you have here? This label says 1954. It should say 1964. But love the photos. Now, the card I'd like to show you, as many of you obviously know, I like to collect the oddball stuff, the unique stuff, but also mainly the rare stuff. I've done that thing when it comes to Topps cards. I have plenty of Topps cards of, the players and so forth. I don't need to collect another 1964 Willie Mays card because I already have it. I've just been collecting most of my life. So I've kind of gone the direction of the more scarce, rare pre-war cards. And I found one recently that I was just happy to pick up. It was at a price that I can handle. And what it is, the card is from France. And it's right here. I'm not sure if you've ever seen one of these before, but this picture here is of the Bay playing in Tokyo Stadium. It was the Japan tour. It was an 18-game tour, 12 cities. The Americans played the Japanese players. The Americans won all 18 games. I believe I read somewhere Babe hit 13 home runs during the tour. But this is a famous photo of the tour. You see this photo on some other card issues and also magazines and so forth. What it says here on the boat, what this card is, basically, who produced this card was, I believe it's pronounced Duna Confectionery Company. Duna Confectionery Company. And the city, I would say Lille, but I think it's called Lille in France. This is the only one that SGC has ever graded, this particular card I have in my hands. PSA has graded 3. What it says on the front here, it has Indiana. It's not pronounced Indiana, but I'm going to say Indiana. Indiana means Indians. Sport, of course, we have the baseball here, and I believe it's pronounced Avon. I'm butchering this, I'm sure, but Avon, and it means plain. So it was a multi-card set. You would have, sports like boxing, wrestling, golf. You would have Cowboys and Indians, planes, and so forth. It was a 64 card issue. On the back here, you're going to see it says 136, but I understand that's not the case. It's 64 card issue. And this is obviously what the back looks like. What it says here on the back here, I'm going to read it. It says here, on the back, baseball is thought of across the Atlantic the same way as soccer is in France. In this photo, you see 3 great American champions who traveled to Tokyo had played in front of an audience estimated at 65,000 people. The 3 great Americans you have here is Ruth, the Japanese catcher and the umpire, which is kind of funny. But, I just love this kind of stuff. This is a total beater, but I don't care. I don't care. Just to have this in my collection. Just, again, love the unique, rare items, especially Ruth being in the card here. Now, I went on PSA set registry. I don't do PSA set registry. Probably the main reason is for instance, let's say Babe Ruth. I have Babe Ruth cards, but they're PSA, SGC, BVG. So there's no reason really to do the set registry. So I never gone down that, that tunnel to enter cards onto their registry. But I wanted to see if this particular card was on the registry. They have apparently a basic set, a master set, and a super set. And this card's not on any of this. It's not on the master set, which kind of makes sense. It's a sport card. It's not a Babe Ruth card. But what I noticed is, and I'm not sure how all this works when it comes to the set registry, but they weight Ruth's different cards. So the more scarce, the more expensive cards are weighted more than maybe his modern cards when you kind of total it up. But I noticed that if that's the way they do it, PSA really doesn't know what they're talking about, because you have cards like the 1927-28 Sweetman card of Ruth being weighted lower, the same as a Harrington Ruth 28 Ruth card, which doesn't make sense. Show me a Ruth Sweetman and come back to me. That should be weighted more than a Harrington card or a Thorpe card for that matter. You have the York, 27 York I showed you my last video. There's a type 1, type 2. They have type 1 higher weighted, a 6, than a type 2 is weighted a 5, the one I have, but the 5 is 2 to 3 times scarcer than the type 1. So, I mean, there's no like rhyme or reason. You have the Bluebird Ruth card, which probably total, I'm saying total of cards out there, not just graded, just total, is probably under 20. And that's weighted lower than some of his more common cards. So I'm not, I guess it's stay off my lawn. I probably shouldn't even looked on the registry. So it's just got my heart pumping a little bit. If PSA wants to hire me, at least I have some general knowledge of Ruth cards and the ones that seem to be more scarce, more valuable than others. And what's on the set too, I'm not going to go down there. But anyway, that's my stay off my lawn moment. I have zero issue for people doing it. It seems fun to do the PSA set registry. And I guess I could say, hey, can you put this one on the registry or whatever? But, that's the case because I don't do the set registry. But, hey, love this card. Very cool. Ruth Beater. Hey, thanks for watching. This is Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. Bye.